What's happening, good people? All right, today I'd like to talk about dreams and quatrains. All right, so we talked a lot about dreams in the past, and given some examples of dream installments, high def dreams, and how to tell the differences between just your local or average nightmare and something a little bit more profound. Um, this is what I'll say. Over the years, as I've archived and written down all these important dreams I've had, something came to me like a thought or a notion that was almost like a guidebook or something, a manifest, something that could be used in the future when events happen. I don't know why that was always in the back of my head. I don't know where that thought came from. I certainly don't have any um, um, initiatives to like write a dream journal and publish this or make predictions. I never have really done that. I've shared them with some small groups of people, but I don't have any grand ideas about something larger than that. However, it was always there, some sort of connection that these would have in the future. Not necessarily saying that they will happen as the dream states, but they would be useful. Okay, that's the best way I could say. They'll be useful. So to illustrate this, I'd like to give an example. One was a dream I had. Look at it here, 2010. All right. So 2010, I finally published this dream series that I was getting. It was about these miniature helicopters that were flying around in my dreams. And I was always looking at like, what are these things? They're flying around. They're very small, not like your full size aircraft or helicopter. And they were like monitoring and chasing people, and then they would crash. And I would go over and in the dream, I'd go over and I'd pick up the little parts and I'd put them in my shed. I'd take them back to my house and I'd store them. That happened over several dreams. The next a couple nights, here it is again, same dream, same situation, same little helicopters, and I'd take the parts and I'd do that and I collected them. Finally, the last dream installment, I went into my shed and I did an inventory of all the parts that I gathered and started to formulate an idea about what I was seeing and what was going on. And as I started kind of to like back assemble, or back engineer this craft, I realized they were small enough that they could possibly fit, a small person in there. There was like a seat available for them, but no one was ever flying these things. And the engines were like some sort of like diesel electric hybrid type of motor. That's the best I could kind of formulate at the time. In any event, as I woke up from that dream, again, this last installment in the post-analysis section of your dream world, I realized that and I got the information, these are going to be like population surveillance machines or craft, and then we're going to start seeing them used in all of our society. Now, this was before drones were a thing. People weren't playing with them. It certainly wasn't being utilized in the commercial world or maybe even the military beyond maybe predator drones, but there weren't like those, what we have now. And I'm not even sure about the predator drones, but in any event, it wasn't out there in public. I had no reason to know about this or think about this, but yet here I was dreaming about these little machines that were flying around, surveilling our population. Any event, so I made the prediction, like, again, that we're going to start seeing these things in all forms of life. And what do we have now? They're being used everywhere. Every home that's being sold has a drone footage, either picture or video. People go vacation, they fly drones on the beach and like take pictures of the family or video. When you're out sailing, the same thing, or fishing, or now they're being used by other militaries that are less sophisticated and sending out these little bomb packages or bioweapon packages and dropping them on troops. It's crazy, man, right? They're everywhere, and this is just the beginning. It's only going to escalate from here, right? They're talking about delivering packages, Amazon stuff. Oh, hold on one second. Wow. Sorry, folks, had a strange phone call come in there. Where was I? Population management, drones. Okay, so anyway, that was a dream series. They built upon one another. I was collecting information. I got a post analysis after the last dream, and posted a prediction, and here we are, right? Pretty interesting stuff. Um, I didn't think I would be sharing this outside of 2010, but now it seems appropriate to show and forecast, basically, or foreshadow what I'm going to tell you now. So I also had another dream years ago. This one was it actually was even earlier. Looking at it, it's 2009. It was about the draft, right? There was no reason to think about drafts back in 2009, but I had this horrible high def dream. It was a long storybook dream, and I won't read it, but the gist was this: I was in my office building with a bunch of coworkers. Now I work in DC in big giant buildings. I'll let you connect the dots if you want to. Not that it matters, but it will give some clarity on the situation. Because I'm in this office building, I'm talking to my friends and coworkers, and we're discussing the bad news that came in. We can't believe it. What are we all going to do? What is it? Well, it was an order from our president that that all available males were going to be enlisted in a draft, and we were to report to boot camp in the near future. It didn't matter how old you are. I don't think they were taking 7-year-olds, but any able-bodied man was being grabbed. Now, I got the feeling that we were like the last of the line, right? They already used up most of the population for this war, this meat grinder of a war, and we were the last line to kind of grab from. And so we were all very worried. There was one last like celebration with all the families and all the people who were being drafted down in Disney World, something like that, a big amusement park where all the families could gather and celebrate, have good times with one another before we departed, because the idea was that none of us were coming back. This was for certain a doom case scenario, and we had to go to boot camp. That was like we had to report to that at the end of the week, apparently, after this celebration in Florida, which would make sense too. I think there's a lot of boot camps down in Florida. But in any event, we're talking about this like, wow, this is a lot of fun with our families, great memories, but we're all like really somber because we're saying, what's going to happen? This apparently, if you didn't work hard in the boot camps, you would be put on the front lines right away, and obviously, completely going to be meat grinded and killed right off the bat. But we kind of wrapped up that evening as the sun went down, talking and very afraid for the future. And as I went back to be with my family at our place where we're staying, I remember thinking to myself very clearly that I wasn't going to do this. I wasn't going to allow myself and my son to be drafted into some horrible, horrible war where we were going to be blown to shreds at best, for nothing, for no one, for no reason that I believed in anyway. And as I started to leave the dream, I started analyzing this thought, and I thought to myself, a massive amount of fear and worry came over me, not because of what I potentially was facing, but the decision I was going to make to leave this country and never look back. The country I've only ever known. This is what I call home. This is what I know. And I was going to have to leave, and I was going to leave and never be allowed to return, and have to kind of like play whack-a-mole with the government, hopefully never get caught wherever I was going to be hiding out at. I mean, a terrible feeling that the world will never be the same, but this was the only decision I could make. And it was horrifying. It was the most fear in a dream I think I can remember having, about how strong it was. Terrible feeling. So, now look where we're at. We have Switzerland, a country that's been neutral since forever, is telling their citizens prepare for war and talking about how they're initiating a draft. Same thing with, I think, Sweden and Germany. There's probably others. I know those three. And now there's reports of the United States government dropping all of our IQ and other citizen tests. So, basically anybody can be conscribed for this military draft that might be coming up. I think there was another report today on Marfugal News that there was a contract signed by the United States government and all the major airline carriers that come April, if our country needs access to flights and planes to deliver supplies or other things, they'd have unlimited access. I mean, the writing seems to be on the wall. I hope it's all just positioning and posturing, but I thought with all these developments, this dream, it was time to share this. That I've had a glimpse of something that we all don't want to think about coming up in the future. So rest easy, God bless, and we'll talk later, people.